Hello everyone, factoring the 10th Winter 2020 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, it's time to bring you another winter update. We are 10 updates in now, can you believe it? And we are actually reaching the business end of the winter updates. We have reached the business end of winter updates. So we're going to have 3 more updates to do after this one, 11, 12 and 13. And then once those are out of the way, it'll be time to bring you the GavsWeatherVids.com Winter 2021 forecast on Wednesday, the 2nd of December. So we really are coming towards the end of the season winter updates. I just hope you've all been enjoying this season of winter updates so far. I think it's been a great season of updates. I think they've been very informative, and I just hope you've enjoyed watching them as much as I have enjoyed doing them. But we've still got a few to go, so let's not sort of talk as about we've ended winter updates, because we will still have 3 more to do after this one. This one's going to be another epic as well. So I shall get on with the 10th Winter 2021 update for you in a moment, very shortly. Just to say that if you're enjoying the videos, please can you give us a like on the videos. Make sure you tell us in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, we're going to begin the grind to 9k subs. So just past 8k subs. Tomorrow we'll begin the grind to 9k. And I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, everybody, for all of the support. We're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock. Now, the live stream from 6. We'll be giving away a £30 Amazon voucher in the live stream. So yes, in the live stream, somebody will win a £30 Amazon voucher to celebrate the fact that we have reached 8k subscribers. So that will be somebody's in the live stream from 6 o'clock this evening. I'm also going to be able to bring you Patel Peng's latest Winter 2021 forecast as well. So that should be absolutely great, hopefully too. And CFSV2 data. We'll be discussing this 10th winter update as well. I'm quite sure we will. And so the live stream will be coming up for you from 6 o'clock this evening. Thank you so much to Richard, my good friend Richard Traut, for the wonderful winter updates gift this year. Thank you so much, Richard, for the fantastic winter 2021 updates gift. Everybody has loved the winter updates gift this year, especially the cute little snowman or snowball, I suppose it is, in the top, in the bottom right-hand corner of the gift. But thank you so much, Richard. Also, going to say thank you to James, also James Ackwill, and also to Shryan as well, my good friend Shryan Brian, for their help with this update. When we get to the sections where they've helped, I'll let you know exactly what they've done in terms of helping with this 10th Winter 2021 update. It's going to be quite a long update, of course, with the long-range stuff as always, so you can't watch a window, don't worry, will be kept on the channel indefinitely, and you'll be able to see it on Winter Updates page with a written summary, hopefully from this evening. I will be very busy with the live stream and sorting out, you know, the prize draw, so if I can't get it done this evening, then I'll be able to, I'll get the written update up for you tomorrow morning on the Winter Updates page. Part 2 of this update, because of course this is part 1, so part 2 of this update is going to be released at 6 PM tomorrow, which will be focusing on all of the analogs. I'll tell you at the end of this video, at the end of part 1, what we're looking at for part 2. I think that's pretty much everything that I've got to tell you. So without further ado, let's get on with it then, shall we? Let's start the 10th Winter 2021 update, part 1. Right, so we're going to begin with the swingometer. Now remember, the swingometer, of course, is up to the end of the 9th Winter 2021 update. So we will find out next week at the beginning of the 11th update how this 10th update has affected the swingometer. But this is how the GavsWeatherVids.com Winter 2021 updates swingometer is looking as of the end of the 9th Winter update. Are you ready for this? As of the end of the 9th Winter update. Are you ready for this? Here we go. This is it. So the swingometer, and look, it's Jack. Jack has appeared in the winter updates. Here's Johnny. So here we go then. The swingometer, as of the end of the 9th Winter 2021 update, is favouring a mild winter. We have seen a further swing from cold to mild, and we now favour favour, with our winter updates, a mild winter by 54% to 46%. King of Swing, Richard Traut, has calculated this for us. So yes, thank you to our King of Swing, Richard Traut. And the swingometer, as of the end of the 9th Winter 2020 update, is favouring a milder than average winter by 54% to 46%. That is a further swing from cold to mild. You remember after the 7th winter update, we was favouring a colder than average winter. Since then, so with updates number 8 and 9, we have seen swings from cold to mild, so that now we actually have a majority in favour of mild with our winter updates as of the end of the 9th winter 2021 update. We will find out, of course, next week how this 10th update has affected things, if indeed it has. Sometimes we may never get a swing. It's possible next week we will still see 54 to 46 in favour of mild, but we'll find out next week anyway. But yes, as of 9 winter updates, we're favouring a milder than average winter. Thank you so much to our King of Swing, Richard Traut, for sending that through. And I love this swingometer. I absolutely love it. Jack has finally made an appearance in the winter updates. What is all work and no play makes gathered, oh boy. Thank you so much, Rich. Right, okay, so let's begin the 10th winter update then. So here we go. We're going to start with the QBO. I have got information, we have got data through for the quasi-biennial oscillation. Remember, the QBO is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, not driving anything in its own terms, just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when the QBO is in its westerly phase, we're going to be telling us how strong the zona westerlies are, essentially. So when the QBO is in its westerly phase, we will be strengthening the zonal flow, strengthening the zonal westerlies, powering them up. When the QBO is in its easterly phase, we will be weakening the zonal westerlies. And so westerly QBO tends to coincide with a milder winter for the Northern Hemisphere, and particularly for Northern Europe and the North Atlantic. And easterly QBO tends to favour a colder and more blocked type winter. Again, particularly in Europe and in the North Atlantic. Now, there are many variations to this. There are many exceptions. So, for example, we do see cold winters with a westerly QBO, and we see many, many mild winters with an easterly QBO. These negative numbers are where we've got the easterly QBO going on. The positive numbers are where we've got the westerly QBO going on. So you'll see that, for example, we had an easterly QBO during the winter of 1970-1971. That was front loaded. It had cold weather early on, but then it rapidly reversed into a milder scenario. Winter of 1974-1975 was also an easterly QBO, and that was a very mild winter. Conversely, we do sometimes get colder winters that have westerly QBOs. A good example of that would be just here, that is 1990-1991. See these positive numbers just here. So 1990 was a westerly QBO year, generally, lasted into the early part of 1991, reversed to the easterly QBO second half of 1991. The westerly QBO winter of 1990-1991 was actually a cold winter, but particularly cold in February, of course, of 1991. The easterly QBO of 91-92 that you will probably think would be, would favour a colder winter. That was actually a relatively mild winter, 91-92, very dry and anti-cyclone. So there are always exceptions to the rule. However, on average, colder winters tend to occur with an easterly QBO, and milder winters tend to occur with a westerly QBO. Let's come down to 2020 then. So we know what's happened this year. This should be an easterly QBO winter. We have these negative numbers appearing early on in the year. That's the beginnings of the next easterly phase of the quasi-biennial oscillation. But instead of strengthening through the spring and into the summer, what we actually see is the easterly QBO weakening initially and then reversing into a westerly QBO during the late summer and into the autumn. So in August, we have our first sort of proper positive number at plus 4.78. In September, we have another more positive number at plus 7.95. And now here we go for October. We actually have a genuinely positive westerly QBO number at plus 10.80. There's no getting away from this now. The easterly QBO has failed. Whichever way we look at this, we are now back firmly and solidly in the westerly phase of the quasi-biennial oscillation. We have had another failure. We can confirm this now. We can confirm it without a shadow of a doubt. We've had another failure in the easterly QBO. We had this in 2016. So 2015 starts off as an easterly QBO and then reverses into the westerly QBO in the second half of 2015. That lasts into the opening months of 2016. This just here should have been when the easterly QBO begins, when the west QBO reverses to the East QBO during the spring of 2016. It did not. Actually, the easterly QBO failed and westerly QBO just came back and carried on through 2016 into the first half of 2017. We've had another failure of the easterly QBO. We did get a little bit further into the easterly QBO compared to 2016. So yes, we did actually get some negative numbers. We did actually go into an easterly QBO, but it only lasted a few months, was very weak, and then reversed back into the westerly QBO. And we can call this now. I think there's no shadow of a doubt that with this number, plus 10.80, which is solid West QBO number, I think there's no shadow of a doubt that the easterly QBO has failed. We are in a westerly QBO, and we are likely to keep this westerly QBO going, at least to some degree, through this winter. I do think that we may well go into another easterly QBO next year, and it might even start, the next easterly QBO phase could start during this winter. But I don't think, it'll take a while for that to have an effect on the troposphere, because it starts in the strat and gets down into the troposphere later. So even if we begin the easterly QBO during this winter, I don't think it'll actually have much effect on the winter, if you see what I mean. But more likely, I would suggest, is just that we may even see this westerly QBO powering up a little bit further over the next couple of months, and then into like the first months of next year. That might be when it weakens and we have another shot of the easterly QBO. But I think this winter is probably going to be a westerly QBO winter, and I would anticipate we are going to look at the QBO in a coming update, and I would anticipate when we look at the QBO, we will probably just have to look at solid West QBO winters. I don't think there's going to be anything else that we can do, really, albeit bearing in mind that we have had the failure of the easterly QBO. But I think we're just going to have a look at solid West QBO winters, really, because I think that's what this winter 2020-21 is going to be. This is how the QBO is currently looking. This is from NASA. So, of course, we've got our westerly QBO phase just there, where we've got those sort of brown sandy colours. The blue colours are where we've got the easterly phase of the QBO. And of course, these are levels of the atmosphere. So this is the very top of the atmosphere just here. This is 10 HPA right in the stratosphere. This is the troposphere, 30 to 50 HPA just here. That is the boundary level of the atmosphere that we call the troposphere. And then underneath that, it's like going right way down towards the surface. So of course, this is when the easterly QBO should have descended. It should have descended from the troposphere just here. Dates are on the bottom of the chart, monthly periods, of course. So we should have seen the easterly QBO descending down from the stratosphere into the troposphere, and so you can see that as we come to the end of 2020, if everything had gone to plan, we should have been in a proper easterly QBO phase within the tropospheric level. What actually happened is that although we very, very nearly got this easterly QBO going. It's so close, but we never quite got rid of these raggedy, sandy coloured areas just here. And as we go into the summer of 2020, we see the westerly QBO powering up with those brown and sandy colours coming back. Now, right at the very top of the atmosphere and stratosphere, the easterly QBO is still there. Never completely went away. So that's going to be the next phase of the easterly QBO now. So there's no doubt that the easterly QBO did fail. This should have been like the easterly QBO phase just here. There's no doubt that this is a failure. What we see up here, I think, will be our next easterly QBO phase. So I think that's going to stay there in the stratosphere. We'll keep the easterly QBO at the very top of the atmosphere and stratosphere for the next month or 2 or 3 or 4, however long it takes. But eventually, I think we're going to see this blue-green area descending down, and that's likely to be more into next year. If we zoom in, can we zoom in? Yes, we can. So if we zoom in, we can see that actually it is strengthening a little bit. The ECQBO is strengthening a little bit at the top of the stratosphere at 10 HPA. So where we've got those deep blue colours, the deeper the colour, the stronger the event, if you like. So yes, at the very top of the atmosphere, the ECQBO is there. It's strengthening. But, of course, for us, the important boundary level of the atmosphere is the troposphere. And in the troposphere, this 30 to 50 HPA level just here, in that level, we still have a solid westerly QBO going on. And even if we see the easterly QBO sort of descend through the winter months, I think it'll take a couple of months at least to get into the troposphere properly. So it'll be beyond winter, you see what I mean, by the time any sort of descension of the easterly QBO can have any effect on the atmosphere. So I think there's going to be a solid westerly QBO winter, even though we have got the easterly QBO in the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere, and it is likely to descend at some point, probably through next year, and bring us our next sort of easterly QBO phase. Right, so talking about the stratosphere, this is how our temperatures are currently looking at 10 HPA over the North Pole. So the grey line, of course, is the trend line. This is from a JMA. The grey line is the trend line. The black line is the current temperature at 10 HPA over North Pole. And you'll see that temperatures are now colder than average over the North Pole in the stratosphere. Of course, at this time of year, the temperature should be getting colder. The grey line does descend down to around minus 70 on average at its lowest point during December and into January. But what we actually see is that we're under that. So we're somewhere probably close around minus 75 degrees now at 10 HPA. So we have not a dramatically cold stratospheric temperature, but it is a little bit colder than average. You go a bit lower down to 30 HPA, that's closer to the troposphere. We're actually seeing a bit of a plunge there going on. So again, it's a cooling time of year, of course, in the stratosphere over the North Pole, but we are also down to minus 75 at 30 HPA, which, as I said, is going closer towards the tropospheric level. So both 10 and 30 HPA colder than average. Let's have a look for the very first time within the winter updates. Let's have a look and see what GFS is forecasting for these temperatures over North Pole in the stratosphere. So of course, we've got these blue colours. That's where the cold temperatures are in the stratosphere over the North Pole. Let's run through and see what GFS is forecasting for the next couple of weeks. So if anything, we may see the temperature at 10 HPA getting colder in a few days' time. It may go down to around minus 80. So on this chart, minus 80 will be, let's go back to 10 HPA because that's the level we're looking at. So on this chart, minus 80 will take that black line to about there. So black line could do a bit of a plunge and drop down to around minus 80 in around 4 or 5 days time. Then we run through into like this time next week, and again see minus 80 is being achieved there. So the temperature is likely to stay colder on average at 10 HPA over North Pole for the next week. Anyway, let's run through and see what happens beyond that. So again, we keep these very cold stratospheric temperatures going over the North Pole. No sign of any warming at all, really, as we run into our extended range. But what we can see is that the GFS is moving the coldest temperatures over towards Siberia. Got the coldest temperatures moving out towards Siberia, and temperatures are lifting up just a little bit. Over our side of the North Pole. So we could be seeing signs, because this is like the polar vortex. So these cold temperatures are what's going to be driving the zone of winds, and the zone of winds are basically what drive the polar vortex. So we could be seeing signs of a little bit of a disruption of the polar vortex there. Possibly the polar vortex pulling a little bit more towards the Siberian side of the Arctic and North Pole, which may start to allow some higher pressure to begin to get going on our side of the pole, you know, like Canada, Greenland, that sort of area. So let's have a look at this. This is from weatheriscool.com. So this is showing the strength of the zone of winds. So as I say, as the temperature gets colder at 10 HPA at this time of year, so zone of winds typically get stronger, and zone of winds are basically the strength of the polar vortex. So you can see that the black line here is like the trend line. So you see that with monthly periods just here, that this time of year, the black line is lifting up. It's getting ever stronger with the strength of the zone of winds at the same time as we have, let's go back, same time as we have the temperature getting colder, so the zone of winds get stronger. Now, where we currently are is this blue line just here, so we have had a stronger than average zone of wind, really, since we've gone into November, although over the past couple of days, the zone of wind has weakened a little bit, but nevertheless, it's still above the black line, so zone of winds are stronger than average. Right, let's see what GFS ensembles are forecasting then. So GFS ensembles are going to be a bit up and down in the next couple of weeks. That's these green lines. So initially, in the next couple of days, we see zone of winds dropping down to be close to average. Then they power up again. The zone of winds are forecast power up in around a week's time. In week 2, it looks like the zone of winds are weakening. That might be as those colder temperatures begin to move over towards Siberia at 10 HPA. That might have a little bit of a weakening of the zone of winds. However, by the end of a GFS run, in 2 weeks' time, we see the zone of winds showing signs of becoming quite strong once again. So it does look as though through November, sort of the next couple of weeks anyway, zone of winds are generally going to be trending colder than average. Let's have a look at CFS V2. So that's how the CFS V2 is looking. Generally now, it seems like the CFS, these blue lines are like the 4 individual CFS V2 runs. So it does look as though the CFS generally is set on keeping zone of winds pretty strong now, at least average, maybe a bit stronger than average through winter. There are a couple that are dipping out into a reversal of zone of winds there, but generally it looks like the CFS is also shifting towards something just a little bit stronger with zone of winds. And if we sort of correct the bias within the GFS ensembles to have zone of winds weaker than they, within the CFS ensembles I should say, have zone of winds weaker than they should be, we see that actually the CFS could be indicating, like at times, record-breaking strong zone of winds again this winter through the course of December, January and February. So not particularly good data there in terms of zone of winds if you want a colder winter. Arctic oscillation observed and forecast looks like this. So the AO has gone very, very positive. We really have powered up westerlies and the zonal flow. Remember, the AO, similar to the QBO, the Arctic oscillation is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It's not driving anything in its own terms. It just tells us what the atmosphere is going to be doing. But when the AO is positive, then we've got low pressure up over the Arctic and over the North Pole. So we're strengthening the zonal flow over the Arctic and the North Pole. When the AO is negative, got blocking over the Arctic and over the North Pole. Since around middle of October, the AO has been trending more and more positive. That's where we are right now. The Arctic oscillation are very, very positive, and the AO is being forecast to stay positive as we go through the next couple of weeks by the GFS ensembles. Maybe as we go into the second half of November, we might see a little bit of a sign of a weakening of the AO, but generally looks like the AO is going to be in its positive phase for the next 2 weeks. At the same time, the NAO has also gone very positive. This time it's an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state of the North Atlantic, measuring air pressure between Iceland and the Azores. So you can see that with the NAO also in a positive state, and forecast by the GFS ensembles to stay in a positive state until like here, when we may see a bit of a drop back towards neutral. But overall, this is very positive stuff for both the AO and also the NAO. They are both in their positive phases, and so yes, we can expect the Zola winds to continue to strengthen. We can expect westerlies to continue to strengthen, and overall this is a mild westerly sort of signal, albeit we may get high pressure that keeps us dry, but overall this is a mild westerly sort of pattern and signal for Northern Europe for the next couple of weeks. And if the CFS is right and the data weather is cool, that might continue into the winter itself. Right, solar activity next. So this episode is looking on our side of it today from solarham.net. We have got various sunspot regions now. Look at this. We've got a sunspot region just here, or sunspot regions just there. We've got more sunspot regions just there. So solar activity is definitely increasing at the moment. But despite that, solar activity is at very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days. This is the GavsWeatherVids solar activity tracker, updated by James Ackrill. Thank you so much, James, for updating this up to the 8th of November. And look at this, you can see that solar activity is on the up. The orange line is each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. We're definitely getting more sunspots now. Probably the most active period of solar activity that we have seen since at least like 2019, possibly into 2018. I'm not sure about that, but certainly we are in a more active phase of solar activity, and it is lifting up our trend lines too. So the thick green and the thick red lines are lifting up. We are now 11 months into solar cycle number 25, so you would be expecting to start seeing some activity for solar cycle 25 appearing. We also see that solar flux, this pink line just here, is also increasing. That's like the noise that's being emitted by the sun, by the sun's activity. And so everything is on the up. Solar activity is on the up. We are moving into solar cycle 25, and solar cycle 25 is beginning to become more active. And we can confirm this as well with our chart from Richard as well. This is from Richard Traut, showing spotless days and the current spotless stretch. So spotless days by year and the current spotless stretch. So we have 0 days for the current spotless stretch, because we did have sunspots yesterday, and we'll have them again today, I think. So for 2020 overall, we had 204 days without sunspots. That is 66% of the year, compares to last year, 2019, which had 281 days without sunspots. That was 77% of the year. We are seeing the percentage beginning to reduce now. So this definitely tells us that this solar cycle number 25 is increasing. Solar cycle 25 is on its way, and it's developing. Thank you so much to James and to Richard for that. Right, I'm going to pause the video there, and when we come back, we're going to continue with part 1 of the 10th Winter 2021 update. Go get yourself a cup of tea, go and get yourself some nibbles, whatever you like to nibble on when you're watching Winter Update, and we'll see you back here very, very shortly, and we will continue part 1 of the 10th Winter 2021 update. I'll see you soon. Okay, we're back, and we're ready to resume the 10th Winter 2021 update, part 1. So if you're enjoying this video, please can you give us a like, let us know in the comments what you think, and make sure you subscribe to the GavsWeatherVids YouTube channel. Let's carry on then. So we're going to be looking at sea surface temperature anomalies next. So this is our sea surface temperature anomalies we're looking when we did last week's 9th Winter 2021 update. Got our 4 areas of interest. Got the Enso region just here, the equatorial Pacific Ocean. We've got the Northern Pacific just here, particularly focusing on the northeastern Pacific. Got the Indian Ocean over there, and then we've got the North Atlantic Ocean just here. That's how the oceans, Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian, were looking when we did last week's 9th winter 2020-21 update. This is the latest as of 6th November. So let's deal with the Enso region first of all. So let's go back. So that's how the Enso region was looking last week. This is the latest. I think essentially the signal for La Nina has continued. I'm not sure it's strengthened much week by week, and it is still colder in the central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean than it is in the eastern part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. We did our Enso update with the analogues last week, and we established that central base La Ninas tend to be favouring a milder winter compared to eastern base La Nina. So as this has become a central base La Nina, that is something that will favour, doesn't guarantee, but that does favour that this winter will be on the milder side compared to if the La Nina was more eastern based through here. I don't think we're seeing any further strengthening of the La Nina. We will confirm that, of course, in a moment. Moving into the northern part of the Pacific Ocean, again, it remains significantly milder than average in this northeastern corner with above average sea surface temperature anomalies there. That's how things looked in that region last week as of the 30th of October. This is how things look as of the 6th of November. So we have possibly seen a slight cooling up here of the sea surface temperature, especially close to the coast of Alaska and Canada, but nevertheless it's still above average, significantly so in the northeastern Pacific. In the Indian Ocean, again, let's go back to that situation in the Indian Ocean last week. Let's go forwards to the latest. Very little change in the Indian Ocean. Things are looking very, very stable. We've got like a neutral to weekly negative IOD at the moment, and that continues, I think. And in the North Atlantic, again, going back to last week, in the North Atlantic, that's how things were looking through the north of the Atlantic Ocean last week. This is the latest. Again, very little change. We've possibly seen cooler than average sea surface temperature anomalies strengthening here to the west of the UK in the North Atlantic. Still pretty warm through the tropical Atlantic and through like the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, all of those are areas, and close to the east coast of the states as well, with the cooler than average SST anomalies tending to be just through here. The temperature change, just how the temperature change is over the past 7 days. So the trend over the past 7 days looks like this. Generally, the North Atlantic has cooled. The sea surface temperatures have cooled in the North Atlantic to some degree over the past week, although the tropical Atlantic has seen the sea surface temperatures warming a little bit. In the Enso region, so some parts of the Enso region have still seen some cooling, but more areas have seen warming actually in the Enso region. So that might be starting to limit the La Nina ever so slightly. In the Northern Pacific as well, we also see that cooling has occurred through most parts of the northeastern Pacific over the past 7 days. Now, despite that, the sea surface temperatures are still significantly above average. We would have to have several more days and weeks of cooling to be able to send those sea surface temperature anomalies cooler than average in the Northern Pacific. But yes, over this week, over the past 7 days, the temperature in the Northern Pacific has cooled down a little bit, and it has cooled down as well, interestingly, in the North Atlantic, and particularly so over towards that eastern coast of the United States, but the tropics still looking quite warm. This is how things look in terms of La Nina. So each one of these blue dots represents a temperature anomaly for an individual day. You can see that, of course, through the past couple of months, we have seen this La Nina strengthening. The temperature is on the side, dates are on the bottom. So back in August, we was only hovering around, just reaching La Nina thresholds. But you see how these blue dots forming a line have been dropping away, especially through October. That's when the La Nina has strengthened through October, reaching moderate values temperatures now of around 1.5 degrees below average, but not dropping any more over the past few days. So you'll see that actually we've leveled off or possibly ticked up ever so slightly through this first week of November. So for the time being, it could be temporary. We might see the La Nina continuing to strengthen next week, but for the time being this week, the La Nina has sort of held steady at a moderate La Nina temperature level. We saw in last week's update with the Anomalies, which was a La Nina, was an Enso special, we saw that there's a better chance of having a colder winter with a moderate La Nina compared to a strong La Nina, which a strong La Nina really does tend to favour a milder winter, especially if it's central based. CFSV2 is still forecasting this to become like a Super Nino, so again we've got our monthly periods on the bottom chart, dates are on the side, but maybe pulling back on it a little bit. So this is 2 degrees below average. That will get us to very strong La Nina levels. Below that, we're going into like a super La Nina. The CFSV2 ensemble mean, which is the black dash line, does still go down into like super Nino levels. But the more recent runs, which are the blue coloured runs, maybe just starting to pull back on this a little bit. If they are, we expect to see this black dash line beginning to pull up a bit over the next couple of weeks. That'll be something to look out for next week and the week after. Will that black dash line start to pull back up into like moderate to borderline strong La Nina levels? It will be interesting to see what happens there. It will definitely be a La Nina winter, but there's no getting away from that. The question still remains, how strong will this La Nina be? It will be central-based, I think, definitely, and it will be a central-based La Nina winter. The only question is how strong will this La Nina get? Something else that may be helping to limit, for the time being anyway, the development of the La Nina from getting stronger is the SOI. This is an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. This is from Queensland Government. So this is a column for Tahiti, this is a column for Darwin just here, and these are our daily SOI returns. So when the SOI is in its positive phase, that tells that the atmospheric setup is reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is in its negative phase, that tells us that the atmospheric setup is reflective of El Nino. So at the beginning of November, like, we had very positive numbers. We had plus 28, plus there, plus 23 on the 2nd of November. That's an atmospheric state that's very reflective of La Nina. But more recent days have actually been a little bit negative. So the 5th of November at -5 and the 6th of November at -4 is an atmospheric state that's a little bit more reflective of El Nino. We did have more negativity as well around the 28th, 29th of October. And so this could just now be starting to limit the development of this La Nina. It's reached moderate levels, of course, but to make that next jump into like a strong La Nina, we will need to see the atmosphere continue to couple with the ocean, and that will allow the ocean to get even colder with the La Nina event, and even stronger with the La Nina event. But if we start having fighting going on, which we have had over the past couple of weeks, if we have that, then it could keep the La Nina at a moderate sort of level, rather than letting it develop into a strong La Nina. The 30-day SOI average is dropping. So again, this tells us that at the moment the atmosphere is backing away from like a very strong La Nina type situation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with La Nina, whether it continues to get stronger through the remainder of these winter updates. 2020 hurricane season next, been a mega season. So these are the scores on the doors for the 2020 hurricane season. We've had an incredible 29 total depressions for this season. We have had a record equaling 28 tropical storms. That is 28 tropical storms. That ties this season with 2018. 105 for like the most tropical storms in a single season. We have had 12 hurricanes. That's a very big number as well. And we have had 5 major Category 3 or above hurricanes as well. So this has been a phenomenal season. It's been an absolutely incredible season, and there is still time for more hurricanes and tropical storms, of course, because we've still got like at least another week or two to go before things may start to really begin to wind down. We have had an update in terms of ACE. This is accumulated cyclone energy. This has been updated by Shrine. Shrine Bruin is keeping this updated for us, so we can. This is like the energy that these storms and hurricanes are giving out, that they're emitting. And so we can go all the way back to 1851 with this. The categories are below normal, near normal, above average, and hyperactive. And if we scroll down, we can see through the years, we can see that for 2020, we have now gone hyperactive. Look at this, gone hyperactive for this hurricane season. So for 2020 up to today, the 7th of November, ACE, accumulated cyclone energy, is currently standing at 155.60. That's a big increase on last week. That's after 28 tropical storms, 12 hurricanes, and 5 majors. And look at this, that does get us into a hyperactive hurricane season. This hurricane season is now officially and formally categorized as a hyperactive hurricane season. And it's the first hyperactive hurricane season, first hyper that we've had since 2017. There is still time for a little bit more activity as well. Now, next week, with our analogues, we're going to look at winters following hyperactive hurricane seasons. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. That will be with our analogues next week. I'm going to pause the video for one last time, and when we come back, we're going to look at Eurasian snow cover over the past years, and going all the way back to 1967. So we'll see how we're doing for Eurasian snow cover as of this early part of November. Again, go and get yourself a cup of tea. Go and get yourself some nibbles. And when we come back, we're going to look at the fan favourite of winter updates, which is Eurasian snow cover. So I shall see you very, very soon. Okay, we're back, and we're ready to resume the 10th Winter 2020-21 update part 1. There will be no more stoppages now. We're going to go through right way to the very end. If you've enjoyed this 10th Winter update part 1, then please give us a like on the video. Let us know in the comments what you think, and make sure you subscribe to the GavsWeatherVids YouTube channel as well. So the next part of this is going to be like the fan favourite. This is going to be looking at Eurasian and Scandinavian snow cover. So this is how Eurasian snow cover was looking last week, when we did last week's 9th Winter 2020-21 update. And yes, you can see that the snow line had receded back into central parts of Russia, and we had lost quite a bit of snow across Scandinavia as well. So this is how the very latest is looking. So this is as of the 7th of November. Here it is. And we can see that for, let's deal with Russian snow cover first of all. So for Russian snow cover, very little difference. Possibly the snow line has pushed a little bit further westwards, but basically it's on a par with where it was last week. I think the Scandinavian snow cover, we have lost more snow across Scandinavia, unfortunately. So yeah, across Scandinavia, snow cover has diminished further over the past week. It has receded back to the very extreme northern parts of Scandinavia, and of course mountainous regions. So let's go through the archives then. So this is how things are looking around this time of the year. This is for the 8th of November. I've got the wrong date up, unfortunately. But when we do part 2 tomorrow, we will actually be able to show you at the beginning of part 2 how Eurasian snow cover is looking as of the 8th of November. So this is comparable, really. You know, it's a reasonable comparison. So this time last year, the snow line had pushed a lot further westwards into western Russia, and also much more of Scandinavia was covered with snow. In 2018, what do you think about that? So quite equally matched for Eurasian snow cover for 2018 to this year, but we have more snow across Scandinavia in 2018. That's 2017. Again, probably quite closely matched for Russian snow cover, probably a little bit more in 2017 compared to this year, but definitely a lot more in 2017 than compared to this year across Scandinavia. That's 2016, all of Eurasia covered with snow, and Scandinavia as well. Wow, look at that. November 2016, doing incredibly well at this point for snow cover. We're well behind that year, of course. 2015, so we have less snow across Russia for 2020 compared to 2015, and we're probably quite closely matched for Scandinavian snow cover. 2014, we're behind 2014 for both Eurasian and also Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2013, so we've got less snow across Scandinavia this year in 2013, probably quite closely matched for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2012, we are well behind 2012 for Scandinavian snow cover and also for Russian snow cover. That's 2011, so we're comparable to 2011 for Russian snow cover, but for Scandinavian snow cover, I should say, but we are behind for Russian snow cover. That's 2010, so we are ahead of 2010, I think, for Russian snow cover, but we are behind for Scandinavian snow cover. That is 2009. We are behind 2009 for Russian and also the Scandinavian snow cover too. That is 2008, which we are now behind as well for both Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2007. We are behind 2007 for Russian and Scandinavian snow cover as well. We are also behind 2006 for Russian Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2005. We're actually ahead of 2005, just about, I think, for Russian snow cover. And we're probably a little bit ahead for Scandinavian snow cover as well. 2005 was a very, very slow Eurasian snow cover season. So, yeah, that's one of the years we are doing a little bit better than, I think. That's 2004. We're behind 2004. Whoops, we're behind 2004 for Russian snow cover and also probably Scandinavian snow cover too. That's 2003. So, again, I think we are ahead. We are behind, I should say, 2003 for both Russian and also Scandinavian snow cover. We're well behind 2002. No comparison to 2002 this year. Well behind 2002 in all areas. That's 2001, which we are behind as well. We're behind 2001. So we're doing pretty poorly for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2000. So, yes, we're probably quite comparable for Russian snow cover, behind for Scandinavian snow cover. 1999, we are behind for Russian snow cover. 1999, we're probably quite close or a little bit behind for Scandinavian snow cover, and that's 1998, which we are behind as well. Let's go even further back. So with this one, this is from Rutgers Snow Labs. So for this one, you have to like tilt your head round, stand on your head. This is where the UK is just here, and of course this orange area, brown area is where we've got snow cover. This is from 1997. So snow cover at this point, 1997, was into west of Russia and also across much of Scandinavia. So we are behind 1997 this year. Let's go back then. So that is going to be 1996. We're behind 1996, particularly for Scandinavian, but also for Russian snow cover. That's 1995. We are well behind. Look at that, well behind 1995. At this point in 1995, we actually started pushing snow into Europe in early November 1995. So we are well behind 1995 for Russian and also the Scandinavian snow cover. That is 1994. Well behind 94 for snow cover as well. Well behind 1993 also. This is the Russian border. This is the European Russian border just here. So that's the area to focus on. Scandinavia just there, of course. That is 1992. We're behind 1992 as well. That's 1991. So, yes, I think we're also behind 1991 for Russia and Scandinavian snow cover. That is 1990. We might be a little bit closer to 1990. What do you think? I think we might be a little bit closer to 1990. Maybe a little bit behind. But that's one of the closer years, I think. This is 1989, which we are behind as well for Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. We're also behind 1988 at this point as well. particularly for Russian snow cover. That is 1987. Again, behind 1987 for Russian snow cover, probably a little bit ahead though for Scandinavian snow cover. That is 1986, which we are behind as well. That's 1985. We're behind 1985, particularly for Russian snow cover, a little bit less so for Scandinavian snow cover. That is going to be 1984. We're behind 1984 as well. That's 1983. We're probably quite close to 1983 for Russian snow cover. Just here, we're behind for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1982, so probably again quite close to Russian snow cover, a little bit behind for this year for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1981. We're probably very close to 1981 actually for Russian snow cover. We are a little bit behind though this year for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1980, no comparison. We are well behind 1980 for both Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. Let's go even further back, 1979. We're behind 1979 for Russian snow cover, probably quite close for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1978, which we are behind now as well. In October 1978 was quite a close match, but now we are behind 1978, definitely for Russia and Scandinavian snow cover. We're also behind 1977, and we're behind 1976 as well. No comparison this year to 76. That's 1975, which we're behind also. That's 1974, probably quite closely matched for Russian snow cover, snow line being just there, probably quite closely matched 1974 this year, but we're behind the Scandinavian snow cover. That's 1973, again no comparison, well behind 1973. That's 1972, again no comparison. That's 1971, we're behind 1971 also. That's 1970, again no comparison. Whole of Russia, most of Scandinavia was covered at this point in 1970. 1969, again, we was pushing the snow line into Eastern Europe at this point in 1969, so once again, no comparison. 1968 could be a little bit closer for Russian snow cover, but we are behind 1968 for Scandinavian snow cover. And finally, 1967, again, probably close for Russian snow cover, but behind this year, 1967, for Scandinavian snow cover. So we're doing pretty grimly. There aren't all that many years, all the way back to 1967, that have as little snow now as we've got right now across both Russia and particularly Scandinavia. I can tell you, let's just go here, I can tell you, and this goes back to the 8th winter update. I can tell you where October 2020 fits in the top 20 snowiest Octobers for Eurasia. And actually, it's quite interesting. We've come out at number 19. Look at that. October 2020 was the 19th snowiest for Eurasia. So within the list, this is like the top 25, but actually it's the top 20 we should focus on from 2004 to the snowiest October, which is 1976. So within the list, we have come out in the 20 to 10 snowiest Octobers. We're in the top 20, but instead of being like a 10 to 1 snowiest October, or within the top 10 snowiest Octobers, actually we're like a 20 to 10 snowiest, which, as we established with our analogues in the 8th winter update, did make quite a big difference. So this is how all Decembers combined are looking for Octobers that are that are the 20th to the 10th snowiest Octobers. And for the Octobers, for the Decembers, we did see a northern blocking signal here for these Decembers. We don't see that in the top 10 snowiest Octobers for Eurasia, interestingly, but for 20 to 10, we do see a northern blocking signal for December. We see a strengthened northern blocking signal for the all Januaries combined for those 20 to 10 snowiest Octobers. Definite northern blocking signals in the Januaries with lower than average heights across Central Europe. And it gets even more extreme as we go into the February. Februaries. So the Februaries, again, favouring, a really extensive northern blocking with these Octobers that are the 20th to the 10th, snowiest across Eurasia. Real, genuine northern block with deep low pressure across western parts of Europe for those Februaries. This is a bit of a turn up for the books, isn't it? Well, they're expecting to hear this news. And the Marches also tending to favour northern blocking within those top 20 to 10 snowiest Octobers back to 1967. And the all winters combined, of course, favouring extensive northern blocking on average with these Octobers and the below heights through Central Europe and the jet stream push southwards. So could this news that we have here telling us that October 2020 was the 19th snowiest for Eurasia, could that be a game changer for our winter fate? Could that then start to favour northern blocking rather than northern blocking going over, like the Siberian High, going over the pole into Canada and delivering all the cold air into North America? Could that favour northern blocking on our side of the pole? There are some very interesting Octobers and winters in there. We've got like 2010 just there, very close. We have got 2012, 13, of course. We've got 2017. We've got 2009, 09, 10. We've got 2017, 18. We've got 1968 in the top 10 as well, 68, 69. So there are some very interesting winters in there from 20 to 10. And 2020 has, October 2020 is there, like in that bracket. So quite interesting, quite a turn up for the books. I'll just tell you what we're looking at for part 2 of the 10th winter update, and then we'll wrap it up. So we're going to be looking at October data. So the CT for October 2020 came out at 10.5. We'll be looking at winters following Octobers with a CT range of 10.4 10.6, and we're looking at England and Wales precipitation data as well, and that will be coming up in part 2 of the 10th winter update. This has been an epic. It's been the longest so far at 53 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's gone on for too long, really, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Please smash the like button. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you're subbed to the GavsWeatherVids YouTube channel. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here on this 10th Winter 2020 update. Part 1. It's been a true epic. Thank you so much, everyone. This video will be placed on Winter Updates page, and I have a written summary that goes with it as well. I shall get that up for you either this evening or tomorrow morning. We're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock, and part 2 of this 10th Winter 2020 update will be released tomorrow at 6 p.m. For this video, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.